Imagine a conscious contact with God so strong that no matter what you are doing or not doing, that no matter what your kids are up to or not up to, and that whether you've got the person of your dreams or they're just not cooperating, that you are happy, content, and at peace. A space where everyone else's thoughts, attitudes, and actions are beautiful and exactly as they are supposed to be. Well, this is the space where I like to play. My name is Mischa Z, and this is today's Bitch Slap. Join me as I shed light on the thoughts, actions, and attitudes that are causing you pain, and we train our minds to go to the capital S inner self, the joy that is waiting for us, the God within.
Welcome to another episode of the Bitch Slap, the Accelerated Path to Peace podcast. A couple things going through my mind today, this morning. Just sort of coming out of the summit. There's a lot of minutiae stuff to do, and along the lines of, this pressure. I need to clean up my Facebook profile and then join. There's this way you can start to build an audience. You pick 3 to 5 Facebook groups that are people that you want to interact with, and you every morning do a value post and respond to 3 questions on those in those groups. And part of that is having the group I'm in, encourage you to have your Facebook profile cleaned up first. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just, a certain way. Like, how do I describe the certain way? Save it for another episode. And then along with that, Rachel Miller, I heard this little talk from Rachel Miller, and she encourages you to post once a day and gives you some cool ways to post. But again, one of her things is have your profile cleaned up. So I need to clean up my profile. These are sort of next steps. One of the other next steps was start emailing my list. So a 400-person list that I now have coming out of the summit. And so in a perfect world, I would be emailing that list consistently and at some point have an offer for that list or a product to sell. So the first email I was encouraged to send was one saying, hey, here's my podcast. Listen, like, subscribe. And of course, my podcast name is Bitch Slap, the Accelerated Path to Peace. And all of a sudden, I had tremendous insecurities around my podcast name. I was like, man, I'm going to perhaps offend some people. And so Coach Vince very graciously said, hey, we do want to have a little bit of a polarizing, you've got your middle ground, which is boring, the center, which is boring. And we don't need to think of this in terms of politics. I think when we start saying center, left, and right, people will automatically think politics, but you can think of it however you want. But so the center is boring. Then you've got your extreme left and right, which is the crazies, let's say. And then in between center and left and in between center and right is polarizing. And so a polarizing message and what we're up to can be good because you want people to either be all in or be like still listening, but pissed off, perhaps is a way to say it. Or you're sparking them to think. I'm just recording. Hit record and go. Got it. A podcast episode every day. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's challenging. Now I get to do an email every day and commit to that email every day to my email list. So I have tremendous fear around that. But I get to do that. And then the next thing on the list, there's a few things going on. Refine my avatar. And what is the problem I'm going to solve? I've got to nail down the avatar and the problem I'm going to solve. And so coming out of the summit, I have a much better idea of the avatar, or I can clean up my avatar, refine my avatar, as well as the problem I will solve for them. So that's kind of cool. And then I've got to come up with a product or the solution, what's it going to be? So all of that together in a big pile, I'm like, I can't do it. So I have screen freeze, all of that together in a pile. And there's some more stuff I'm sure I've forgotten. But that's the general outline of next steps. And boy, when I look at it, all as one big pile, I'm like, I can't do any of it. And this will never happen. So I'm focused on let's get the email together to send to my list talking about the podcast and clean up the Facebook profile. Then that will create space for the next 2 steps. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, if you're trying new things and growing to new ideas and perhaps leaving a job and starting a new job or starting a new business, you will relate to much of this and how it can feel overwhelming. And the fear that can creep in, like, I'll never get it done. This will never happen. How could I possibly, how can this possibly monetize too? That's another question. The fears around monetization. How about that for a stream of consciousness? How about that for this stream of consciousness? I'm endeavoring to persevere. The outlaw Josie Wales. Keep at it. I can tell you the value of a coach was so powerful. I talked to my coach Vince today, and it was so good. Like I don't think he was trying to do this, but the way he was talking about next steps and all this and helping me craft a vision for moving forward, it was all assumptive. Like, this is just the next step you do on your way to success. And that felt really good. It's like, oh yeah, okay, of course. This is just the natural next step. So you do it. Not even questioning whether I should be taking the next steps. That is the key bit, right? Like, no, you just do these next things because that's where you are on your way to success. And when I say success, with the business, yeah, we'll see. More will be revealed. I'm trying to detach my ego from that. But of course, as we're crafting new business opportunities, you hope success is the natural outcome. And I love this, following the steps. I talk about this all the time. Follow the steps of the program you are going to choose to follow, and it's almost like the results have to materialize. Now, the timing of all that, that's another story. But anyway, I'm right in the middle of that. So lastly, let me just say that I am consciously right now trying to be easy on myself about where I am in this process, where I am as I'm tackling the next pile of stuff to do, because that can be a source of egoic frustration. I should be farther. I'm not far enough. I can beat myself up. I start to compare mode. And I think one of the big lessons for me to learn is to be happy where I am in regards to this type of stuff too. Like many aspects of my life, I'm completely happy where I am and on the journey and enjoying the ride. This type of business thing, sometimes I can want the nugget at the end now to satisfy my insecurities, my ego, quell my fears, when it's still all about the journey and embracing the moment. Yes. And then how can I be of service? Of course. So my hope is, as I'm doing episodes now, I'm consciously more these days. I'm trying to think, yes, am I being of service? So I hope this is of service to you, the listener. Let's create, let's try new things. Let's live our passions. I'm going to attack the big pile, the front little edges of the pile. Craft my first email, inviting everybody to the podcast, and cleaning up my Facebook profile. All right. Peace out. I will report back, hopefully, that those two things are done on the next episode.
Thank you for spending time with me today. As someone who is committed to growth and service to this world, I so appreciate your willingness to come with me, go within, and serve our world through change. If you found value in this podcast and you know someone who can use this message, share this episode with them. Share it so our mission can be achieved one episode at a time. And of course, subscribe so you can hear more. And lastly, for more resources on what has helped me on my journey and can help you on yours, go to belove.media/resources. That's BELOVE.media/resources. Thank you again for listening.